and in his name. We have so much to do, which is exciting. Charlie in heaven is like, you guys thought you had a busy schedule then, just you wait. And he's doing some awesome things with Jesus in heaven right now. But there's so much work to be done. I mean, since his assassination, we have 100,000 chapters, 100,000.
The sense of unity within Turning Point has suddenly unraveled. For a long time, people believed the widow was the one keeping everything intact, but that image cracked when a leaked audio clip surfaced. In it, she can be heard laughing during a conference call, focusing on merchandise sales and packed stadium numbers while the country was still mourning. The recording, released by Candace Owens and now spreading rapidly online, features Erika Kirk enthusiastically celebrating massive sales, praising her team for executing what she calls a historic event, and casually mentioning over $200,000 in revenue just 11 days after Charlie's killing. Supporters are now replaying the clip, contrasting her cheerful tone with the emotional public tributes she gave earlier. Meanwhile, the organization has remained silent, and board members...
So for clarity, this call took place on Monday, September 22nd. So this is 11 days, less than 2 weeks after her husband was publicly assassinated in front of the entire world. It's important to remember that. It's also less than 48 hours, about 48 hours after his private Catholic funeral.
Declining to comment. Owens claimed the audio is verified, yet Erika's side has offered no response. Still, questions remain. The timing feels off, the tone raises suspicion, and missing financial records that appeared shortly afterward only deepen the mystery. If insiders are to be believed, this leak isn't the climax. It's just the first strike in what could become a much larger financial scandal. By the next morning, what once appeared to be structured mourning had shifted into a tense struggle for control. Within Turning Point, staff quietly share concerns that the same figure who delivered emotional speeches on stage was now urgently organizing closed-door meetings, securing financial records, and pushing departments for loyalty confirmations, even as some teams were still waiting on basic
You honor my husband so well. All of you do. And it's weird to say I'm excited. I really hesitate saying that. It's really hard for me to say that. It's a really weird thing to say, but I think it comes from a space of peace, knowing that God's using this.
Reimbursements tied to memorial. Just 11 days after the assassination, Erika Kirk's words from a leaked call, calling it the event of the century, highlighting over $200,000 in merchandise revenue, and invoking Charlie as if celebrating from above, now feel less like motivation and more like calculated messaging. Sources suggest the board has yet to formally convene since the audio emerged, though several members have reportedly reached out to legal counsel on their own. Staff claim internal communications are being wiped, with assistants instructed to clear Slack histories, while vendors are quietly discouraged from speaking out. What should have been a period of collective grief now resembles a coordinated containment effort, where each directive sounds less like mourning and more like strategic damage control.
I don't know what to say. She doesn't want to say she's happy. I don't want to say I'm happy, but where it comes from, I'm going to explain the happiness that I feel. It comes from peace, because we're witnessing the gospel in real time. All of this makes...
Close to her argue she fears losing control of the story. Others aren't so convinced. They believe she was shaping that story from the very beginning. The figures themselves have turned into a point of controversy. On September 21st, less than 2 weeks after the shooting, Turning Point's America Remember Memorial reportedly pulled in a crowd exceeding 275,000, with thousands more gathered outside the venue. The merchandise tied to the event sold at an unprecedented pace: shirts, caps, wristbands, all carrying Charlie's final words. By October, insiders alleged that combined donations and sales had crossed the 100 million mark. On the surface, it resembled overwhelming support and devotion, but everything shifted when Candace Owens released the audio. What caught people off...
I watched my friend get shot in the neck. Yeah, that's what happened. I just want to say that he was publicly executed again before the world. The question is why, right?
Guard wasn't the scale of the numbers. It was the tone behind them. The laughter heard in the clip felt natural, steady, almost attached. For many, it wasn't just what was said, but how effortlessly it was delivered. One senior staff member put it bluntly, "That doesn't sound like grief. It sounds like a performance breakdown." For loyal supporters of Turning Point, it marked a turning moment. The point where the boundary between belief and business no longer felt separate, but indistinguishable. Those defending the widow have moved quickly to reshape the narrative. They push messages centered on resilience, responsibility, and the burden of leading a movement forward. Their argument is simple. A woman stepping into that role cannot afford visible collapse. But online, a different image keeps resurfacing. Clips of Erika smiling, broad, steady, assured, continue to circulate, and no amount of religious caption seems to soften the impression they leave behind. Her social media presence has shifted noticeably. What was once filled with personal tributes and family memories has gone quiet, replaced occasionally by polished, brand-like visuals. One post from late January features nothing but the Turning Point emblem, alongside the words "faithful still." Beneath it, the comment section becomes a battleground, supporters citing scripture about perseverance, while critics question financial transparency and missing donation records. Sources close to Candace Owens suggest she anticipated resistance, but not this level of momentum. According to one insider, she expected criticism, but not for internal staff to begin quietly passing along documents. Now,
Information to research and to investigate, and nothing is making sense. Now, it could not be making sense because we've not arrived at the conclusion. The FBI, I will say, has recently come out and said they're looking for another person. Good, because what we have so far obviously cannot be it. I feel
Now, a single question is spreading faster than any attempt at damage control. Why does every effort to make Erika appear human feel more like carefully crafted PR than something real? Behind closed doors, the numbers are starting to look distorted. According to insiders, Charlie had quietly initiated a private audit months before his assassination, reportedly concerned about gaps in grant records and inflated donor figures. Sources connected to his sister claim those audit files disappeared from internal systems shortly after Erika assumed control. There's no official confirmation, but finance staff quietly mentioned missing backups and access credentials that suddenly stopped working. The sequence of events raises eyebrows. A leadership transition, a surge of sympathy-driven funding, and a widow stepping into the CEO role almost immediately.
Even kind of using this idea of Charlie being in heaven, looking down, and the laughter. I don't know. I feel like the rest of you.
Critics describe it as control masked as continuity. Even some board members who once showed support are now questioning who is actually steering the organization. As one longtime donor put it, "This isn't suspicion, it's numbers that don't add up." Meanwhile, Erika remains largely silent. No public address, no direct statement. Only carefully curated posts filled with polished, almost ceremonial language. What once felt like mourning now comes across as controlled messaging. Candace Owens, however, continues to escalate the situation. In a recent podcast, she mentioned specific Turning Point staff members, implying they were rewarded for loyalty after the leadership shift. She hints at evidence of financial inconsistencies, referencing high-profile gala events at Mar-a-Lago that allegedly generated tens of millions. Her presentation blends accusation with conviction, framing it as a fight for moral clarity within a movement now facing internal fracture. Her sources claim she is collaborating with Charlie's sister, who is said to be building her own timeline of questionable financial activity. That involvement shifts the conflict into more personal territory, family versus institution. At one point, a post from the sister's account alluded to funds that never reached the family foundation. The post was quickly removed, but screenshots spread rapidly online. Turning Point's communications team has declined to engage, labeling it a private family issue. Still, each attempt to quiet the situation seems to fuel further exposure. Owens remains persistent, stating she won't stop until what she calls the truth behind Charlie's legacy is fully revealed. Her audience appears to take that as a signal to keep